This is Cashing Out on VSiN, the sports betting network.
All right, welcome into a new hour of Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo, taking you through the late hours of your Easter Sunday night into your Monday morning, starting your week off the right way right here on VSiN. Golden State Warriors starting their series in H-Town off the right way. 95-85, the Dubs get home over the Rockets. Got dicey there. Houston cut it to within 4 late. The Rockets just couldn't get closer than that 4-point number. They led after the first quarter, 21-18. It looked like defense was going to dominate. And then for about 18 minutes, the Rockets entirely forgot how to make buckets. The defense held decently. Golden State never went scorched earth offensively. But Houston allowed Golden State to convert just enough. And the Rockets, I mean, there was a stretch where they had scored like 21 points in 18 minutes. Second quarter and the start to the third quarter it was 22 points in the 18 minutes between the entire second quarter and the first half of the third quarter. Rockets just went ice cold. Or, to make a WrestleMania reference with that down the street at Allegiant Stadium, stone cold from the floor right there. So Golden State gets a 95-85 dub in H-Town. Total goes way under the posted 213, 214, depending on where you shopped. What did that sit there at a $1.80? Warriors win it by 10. Game 2, the Rockets will try to get right at home later on in the week. This was, despite being a double-digit game, every game was a double-digit game. How about that? Every single game decided by double digits on Sunday, starting with the bloodbath in Oklahoma City. My goodness, 51-point win for the Thunder. Or 50-point win. Buck 30 to 80. Absolute craziness. No, I had it right, a buck 31 to 80. My goodness. Thunder get home over the Grizz, and yet the game stays under the 231.5 posted total. One side scored 131 points, and the game stayed 20 points under the total. 21 points under, to be exact. All Memphis had to do was put up 101. They could have lost by 30 and still gotten the total over. Absolutely terrible basketball for the Grizz. How about Desmond Bane setting the record? Guy who I love, guy who I've been talking about a lot this postseason, or at least throughout the play-in games. I love Desmond Bane. I think he's fantastic. Worst plus-minus NBA playoff history, minus 51 when he was out there on the court. I mean, no hyperbole. Historically bad. Absolutely terrible. Had 4 turnovers, team high. The Grizzlies had 22 turnovers. They were minus 7 in the turnover department. Only one starter in double figures. Ja had 17. Then you have guys like Jaren Jackson Jr., 2 of 13 from the floor. Bane, 3 of 12. Scottie Pippen Jr. Scottie doesn't know how to play basketball. 1 of 9 from the floor. My goodness. I mean, they're starters. This is disastrous. God, what did they shoot from the floor? 14 of 51. I'm trying to do quick math in my head here. I'm looking at the box score. The team was 32 of 93, but in the box score, it doesn't say what the starters were. If I did that math correctly, 14 of 51. That's atrocious. I didn't do it correctly. It's even worse. It's 14 of 56, I think. That's an abomination. Have your starters shoot that poorly from the floor. 25%. Wow. I mean, Oklahoma City, no one played more than 26 minutes. And the 2 cats who did, Jalen Williams in the starting rotation and Aaron Wiggins off the bench, they led the team in scoring. Wiggins had 21. Jalen Williams, Jalen with an E, had 20. You look at Holmgren, 21 minutes. Hartenstein, 21. SGA, 23 minutes. I mean, how nice is that? You have the league MVP, not official yet, was announced as a finalist on Sunday officially, alongside Giannis and Jokic, of course. But the guy who I believe will win the league MVP didn't even have to play half the game, 23 minutes, and they won by 51. What a luxury that is. Lou Dort, 3 steals. 12 points for Dort. I don't believe he was a finalist on Defensive Player of the Year. I got to double check this. I don't think Oklahoma City had a single finalist. Yeah. Evan Mobley, Dyson Daniels, Draymond Green. How does the best defensive team in the NBA not have a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year? I mean, we've mentioned this sporadically at times, and I know it was a big long shot, but I think there was legitimate value to it. Lou Dort, I believe, is more deserving of being a finalist for this award than Draymond Green. I mean, what? Draymond's defense got better when Jimmy got there, so now we're going to give him an award? Give me a break. I hope it goes to Mobley or Dyson Daniels. I do not think Draymond Green is anywhere near deserving of that award. I think Lou Dort should have absolutely been a finalist. And if he wasn't the best, or I should say second best defender on the team, I think SGA might have been considered to be a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. But the Thunder thrash Memphis. They're laying 15. How about that on Tuesday, game 2 of that series in OKC? Folks, if you're ready to get in on the action, not just the NBA playoffs, but I'm talking the ponies too, our buddies at First Bet have you covered. Sign up now. You can access exclusive promotions, plus bet on hundreds of thrilling horse races every day, right from your phone, computer, or tablet. Go to firstbet.com. It's the number one, stbet.com. Use the promo code VEASAN200. You could score a 20% rebate. All wagers for the first 60 days, up to $200. Don't miss out. Start betting today at firstbet.com. Playing the ponies, Kentucky Derby's coming up. What is it, May 3rd? Feel free to correct me, Adam, if I got the wrong date on that. But I believe May 3rd, Kentucky Derby right around the corner. You know our guys Mike Somich and Aaron Halterman have you covered once a week, VEASAN at the races or at the track, for all of your pony needs. And we did confirm May 3rd. Hey, what a day on the diamond it was on Sunday. There were some absolutely thrilling games. Extra innings seemingly left and right in the early window. Cleveland getting home 5-4 at PNC over the Pirates in 10. Emmanuel Clase, by the way, disastrous. You want to hear more about him, more about that Guardians team. Former Cleveland pitcher Jensen Lewis, VEASAN by the book, 7 a.m. Eastern weekday, is going to have you covered there because he's been all over Clase seeming off since literally day one, since opening day. He's 3-0. But make no mistake about it, you don't want your closer to have a lot of wins. When your closer has a lot of wins, that means that there's a lot of BS going on, a lot of blown saves going on. And Clase with another blown save, another win because the guards bailed him out. He's 3-0. His ERA is 7.84. 3-0 for a closer on April 20th is no bueno. Marlins complete the comeback. They were down 4-1 against Philly going into the 7th. Beat him 7-5 in 10 innings. Jesus might have had a good Easter. Jesus did not. Luzardo pitched his tail off, walks away with a no decision. Phillies bats gave him 3 in the first inning and then went silent after that. Unreal. You let this Marlins lineup full of no-names go out there and trounce you in the late innings. Final 4 innings, Miami put up 6 runs. This Phillies bullpen, it's a concern to me. It's a big reason why, as we stay in the NL East, I love the Mets right now. Not just because they're my favorite team. Proof's in the pudding. 15-7, a game behind San Diego, second best record, or I should say third best. Dodgers are 16-7. So the Mets are a game behind the Pods, half a game behind the Dodgers. They have the third best record in Major League Baseball. I'll tell you what. Go down to the counter behind me right now. Take them plus 1250 to win the World Series. Circa's got a better price everywhere else. Major mobile players, whatnot, about 11-1. Is the number you're looking at. This Mets pitching staff right now, best staff ERA in baseball, they're not even fully healthy. Their preseason ace, Sean Manaea, has not pitched an inning. Frankie Montas has not pitched an inning. Kodai Senga has not allowed a run since his first inning of his first start of the year. He's had over 19 scoreless innings, leading the National League in ERA. It's .79. Only former Met, Chris Bassett, .77 up in Toronto. Go figure that one. He's like 82 years old. Has a better ERA right now than Kodai Senga. Everyone's stepping up. Clay Holmes just turned in his best start of the year. 6 innings of 1 earned. First quality start. First time he went 6. Former Yankees closer. Jose Butto blew it. Let the Cardinals tie it. Made it go from 3-1 to 3-3. And then Butto gets the win. I'm telling you, these blown saves equate to wins more often than not. Crazy. But the Mets bats bailed him out. 7-4 over the Cards. 4-game sweep over St. Louis. Last time they did that, 1986, won the World Series that year. It is hard to sweep a team in a 4-game set, especially when Sonny Gray is pitching the 4th and final game of the series. Hey, speaking of past New York sports franchises having success, the last time I saw a final score that was 24-2, I'm pretty sure it was when the Giants beat the Atlanta Falcons in the wild card game en route to the 2012 Super Bowl 46 over New England. In those 2 Super Bowl runs against the Pats, that was the only home game the Giants had. Wild card round against Atlanta, 4-5. Falcons had a better record. Giants beat them 24-2. On Sunday, Cincinnati beat the Orioles 24-2. 24 runs, 25 hits. Charlie Morton drops to 0-5 with an ERA up near 11. Might have been time for good old Chuck to retire this past offseason. I mean, what is he, 41 years old? Got to be the second oldest pitcher in baseball behind Verlander. Yeah, he's 41. Unreal. We'll touch on the Verlander start. He actually delivered a gem, but the Giants blew it for him. Craziest thing about this Reds game, and I know you didn't have this bet slip. I know you didn't have Noelvi Marte to go over 1.5 hits, let alone 5, or Austin Wynns, the nine-hitting catcher, to go over his hit number, let alone 6. Those two guys hitting 8th and 9th combined for 11 hits, 11 of 14, and 13 ribeye steaks. Unbelievable. And they each got a home run in the final 2 innings against position players. Wynns got his homer off the catcher, Gary Sanchez. Marte got it off of Jorge Mateo. Unbelievable. Cincinnati 24, Baltimore 2. Happy Easter, Orioles. More cashing out with Joe Ceraulo up next.
Welcome back to Cashing Out here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cashing Out continues here on VSiN with me, Joe Ceraulo, taking you through the late hours of your Sunday night into your Monday morning, especially for our friends out there on the East Coast. And now we're taking you over to the Progressive Guest Line. It's not the biggest slate of games on Monday on the Diamond, but it is a really intriguing slate of games. I think there are a lot of good spots here if you pick them correctly. So let's break it down with our friend, host of Midday Money over on the Believe Network, Sean Higgs, joining the program. Sean, how are you? How is your weekend, my friend? And what are you looking at specifically in this Patriots Day game, bright and early Monday morning up in Boston?
Yeah, nice little weekend, and I'm excited because I have a Oreo cookies and cream egg. Love it. Love the
wow, what a way to wrap up your Easter weekend, man. I didn't get any eggs this weekend.
Yeah, no, that's a nice little snack after the shot. Yeah, I've already had a Twix bar, so you love that at like midnight, just eating chocolates. Excellent for the health, Joe. Excellent for the health. But early action here, and listen, I want to take the White Sox. Because Bueller, to me, is still kind of coming back into form with his injury and everything. I was just going over the line. I'm like, I can't. As much as I want to pull the trigger on these dogs tomorrow with the White Sox, I can't do it. But I got some ribbies out here for this game.
I love it. What do you
got? Ribby props. Yeah, I like ribbies more than home runs. I know people run to the home run props and stuff like that, and bases and hits, runs, ribbies. I like the ribby props here. Abreu for Boston is a plus 140. Story is a 160. Campbell at plus 180. Sign me up because the White Sox are going to give up some runs. Again, I want to take the dog. I just can't. They're a bad team. Are they going to be worse than last year? I don't know. Are they the Rockies, as bad as Rockies? Possibly. But I'm going to attack this early game. I know it's early. People are going to think, oh, they're going to be tired. Whatever. We got 2 gas cans. Bueller is a gas can right now, and the White Sox over throughout. It's just he is. Yeah, I mean. Listen, he's got two Tommy Johns. He's done. I can't. I wanted to do a White Sox ribby. I can't even do it. As much as I love my dogs, I can't. Give me the ribbies on Abreu, 140. Campbell's the 180, and Story I'm seeing at a plus 160. So that's what I like in this early one here.
I like it. I really like the Campbell and the Abreu plays, too. Those guys have been keeping the Red Sox afloat when seemingly the bigger names in the lineup have been letting them down in big spots here. How about the White Sox, man? 5-16 on the season, 3-3 against the Red Sox. I mean, I'm holding a Boston 4-1 ticket to win the AL East over here, and the freaking White Sox are keeping the Red Sox out of first place.
I had the Sox today. I was like, you know what? Let me do a little run line on them, and I have a future on them because I figured the Yanks I'm not a huge Yankee guy. I question the lineup. Judge is awesome. Everything else is a little questionable for me.
Yep.
They lose 2 starting pitchers. It was the Red Sox, right? I figured Tampa Bay would be. I wasn't sure about them. But 4-1, like you said, I got them. They were at 425 when I grabbed them.
You and me both.
I
Same
like
price.
the Red Sox. I like their young hitters. Good.
Yeah, same price, plus 425. I thought it was a great play. I mean, look, it's early. I always say if you're standings watching in April, get a hobby, right? It's too early to be standings watching. But they're 3 back in the loss column, and they should be, at the very least, tied for first right now, in my estimation. It's been a disappointing start. Let's talk about the Yankees.
Hey, Joe,
go ahead.
April baseball is you grab some dogs because everybody's 0-0 and there's like hope.
Yep.
Right? The good teams maybe start out a little sluggish. They'll move on. As the season progresses, you see the separation. We saw the Pirates have a nice run last April. They're terrible. They're not a good team. You get that early. You get some weird wins. What about the Angels? Everybody talk about the Angels now after their hot start? Come on.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
Angels
the April
coming back down to
folks.
earth. No doubt about that. How about we were talking Red Sox, Yankees. How about Yankees Guardians on Monday? What do you like there?
I like Cleveland. I like Cleveland. You have a Yankee for the Yanks. To me, I look at it this way: you had basically a no hitter taken away from you. So anytime you come off a great game like that, I'm gonna kind of go the opposite way. So I get even money here with Cleveland at home, who they just kind of find pitchers. I know Williams is on the hill tomorrow. Young guy, supposed to be pretty good. They always have decent pitching. Their problem is the lineup. I mean, you got Jose Ramirez, who's an MVP on any big squad. He'd be such a well-known name. He's a guy's a superstar. Where's the rest of the lineup for them? He's like the Judge of Cleveland, right? I mean, it's Judge, and you got hopefully somebody comes through. They're the same way, but I'm going to take Cleveland here. I'm not a Yankee fan. I don't like Clark Schmidt. And again, why don't these teams just walk Judge? I'm shocked. Judge should have 250 walks a year. You have Jazz Chisholm behind him saying $160. What are you doing throwing to Judge?
Okay, so Sean,
What are we doing? Pitching to the guy.
You're not a Yankee guy, you're telling me. I got to ask you, are you a Mets fan?
No, here's the sad thing is that I love the Yanks. Mattingly, I was the crappy Yankees in the early 90s before they got good, and Jeter and Bernie and Posada and those guys. No, I was a Yankee fan growing up. I just can't with this squad anymore. This is for 20 years. Nonsense. Terrible.
How about the other team in New York?
I call them the dollar store Yankees. We go out and pick up guys that the A's cut to play first base. I mean, we don't have a – come on. Goldie had a fast start. He's 50. He's as old as I am. Come on. The guys should be an ARP member. He had a hot start. This is the Yankees. We don't have a third baseman.
I love it. Well, how about the other team in New York? Some are calling them the big brother in New York right now. Mets, Phillies on a Monday night. What do you like there?
I don't know if they're the big brother. It'll always be the Mets. Although I do have a soft spot because I keep finding myself watching Once Upon a Time in Queens about the 86 season, like that whole kind of era for them. And I love that because they play like good 80s music, and it's just good. That's what I grew up with,
right.
Those kind of guys. But this game here, listen, Nola, sign me up for the Mets here. Sign me up for the Mets. I'll take the Mets at home. Small little fave here. And again, I got some ribby props for you on this one because I think they're going to club him. Alonso, he's got numbers versus him. 5 homers versus Nola. Nola's been terrible. I thought Nola was going to hit the bricks or hit the wall like 2 years ago. It looks like now he's had a rough start. I think it's going to continue for the season for him. So you can get a 160 ribby with Alonso. Sign me up there. Nemo 160. He's not great so far, but still the quote-unquote professional kind of hitter guy. So I like him in a plus 160. And Soto. If I'm going to get a Soto at a plus 170, the guy's going to hit 30 homers, I'm always going to take that. Like, I don't like taking 2 hitters or 1 hitters or like the leadoff guys.
Right.
But a 170 for a guy who could easily hit 2 home runs tomorrow versus any pitcher, yeah, I'll take a 170 with that guy. And again, I think the Mets win. You were talking about their pitching beforehand, and I was with you. I have a Met under this year because I'm like, look at his pitching staff. Who is it? I got, Holmes is a reliever. How long does it take him to stretch out? It'll take him 4 months to throw 6 innings, right? Stuff like that. And everybody else is a patchwork kind of group. Griffin Canning. But the pitching coach, I don't know who the hell the guy is. He gets A+ out of all these guys. Minaya, Quintana, right? I mean, just all these guys are solid pitchers. He does a great job. Now, Are they going to win the division? I don't think so, but listen, they're in a good spot right now. I think Nola's going to get lit up. They're playing decent ball. And Alonso's as hot as anybody right now. So I'm taking the Mets. I already grabbed the Mets. I got the Mets at, I got them on a minus 116 already, but it's up a little bit. I don't mind. I might even, let's flip the run line here and get some plus money on the Mets on the run line here. Let's go run line Mets as well. I think it's going to be like a 7-3 game. I think they really knock around the Phillies tomorrow night.
Going to be a juicy price, that's for sure. The one thing with run lines that scare me, in this case, home team, if they're up 1, you don't get that last turn at bat.
Listen. Here's the thing, Joe, for me. If I'm taking a run line, whether it's home or away, I don't think it's a one-run game. If I like the Mets to win this anyway at 115, 120, whatever it is, do I think they're going to win the game 1-0? No, I think they're going to beat up Nola because I'm betting against Nola, right? You're betting against the starter who's going to get shelled here. Why isn't this game – if I'm scoring 5, 6, 7 runs, that bottom line of bat shouldn't even matter to me. That's the way I look at it. If I'm – whatever sport, if I'm taking a dog in football favorite – it's either a blowout or anything 10 or less than a dog should win outright. So I don't worry about the no bottom. We can't worry about that. If that's the case, then just go no bottom 9. Shorten up the big number.
I was just gonna say that you can go Mets no bottom 9 plus $1.20, and I might take a little play on that later. Tyler McGill opposite Aaron Nola in this one because I'm like you. Nola, first report out of spring training was that he's hardly touching 90 on the gun. I mean, he was never a blow you away type of guy. He always relied heavily on movement. But if he's struggling to touch 90 and he's not hitting his spots, he's a batting practice pitcher. Sean, you got 30 seconds. Give me your play for the Atlanta Braves game.
I'm going to run line the Braves here. I think it's the lineup. It's been a year plus of them kind of struggling. But tomorrow, no. They're going to score here against Fetty. They faced him when he was in with the Nats. And I just think they're kind of – whatever was holding them down for last year, scuffling along there, I think it's a breakout. And Strellenbeck's a pretty good pitcher. He's solid. And this Cardinals team, I got an under 80, I think an 80.5 for them on a season. Not a fan. I know people like them. They're off to a fast start. I mean, they're 9-13, folks. It's a crappy NL Central. Don't be fooled. Take a Braves run line is plus 120, I see. Let's go. Braves run line.
Love it. Follow him on Twitter at Mr. Sean Higgs. You can catch him on Midday Money over on the Believe Podcast Network. Sean, great job. Appreciate the time. And I love that Spencer Schwellenbach play. This kid's a heart attack for the Atlanta Braves. More cashing out with Joe Ceraulo after the break.
Welcome back to Cashing Out here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cashing Out continues with me, Joe Ceraulo, taking you through the late hours of your Sunday night right on into your Monday morning for our friends over there on the East Coast. And we're going back-to-back on the Progressive Guest line here, breaking down the opening weekend of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Who better to do so than senior writer over at the Fourth Period? You catch him all the time on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Dennis Bernstein joining us here on the program. Dennis, really appreciate the time. How have you enjoyed the first couple of days of the Stanley Cup playoffs? Anything really notable stand out to you?
No, a lot of form, Joe. So there are no shockers at this point in time. So I think a little shocked that Minnesota's keep staying close to Vegas. I don't think they got much of a shot in this round, but mostly going to form right now. So I was a little surprised at the gap that the Leafs had on the Senators, because I actually like the Senators to win that round, but probably as I expected much of it. Maybe there'll be some upsets tomorrow night.
Yeah, so that stood out to me as well, the Toronto-Ottawa game. Look, my Devils, I grew up a Devils fan, love that team. I didn't give them a shot against Carolina in this series. If they're lucky, it'll go 5. It could very well be a sweep. But I thought Ottawa, like you, very live against Toronto here. How much does this game 1 have to do with the rest of the series? Do you think the Senators will be competitive, or do you think the Leafs set the tone and that they might end up making a quicker work of Ottawa than you and I expected?
Well, if you want to put a positive spin on it for the Ottawa Senators, and I picked them to win the series in 6, you would say that looked like a team that hadn't played a playoff game in a very long time.
Yeah.
Because, Joe, you know the cliches, right? You fight for feet in the regular season, you fight for inches during the Stanley Cup playoffs. That was the difference in that game. One team was ready to play a playoff game, the other one wasn't. So if you're a Senators fan, you got to hope they put that to the side. You park and ride, and you get game 2, and you go back to Ottawa even 1-1. So, yeah, a little surprised. It's not even about the Senators, Joe. I just don't trust the Maple Leafs in the playoffs. I can't. Like if they win this round, I'll probably bet against them in the next round as well. So, but a really nice effort. And if they get that goaltending they got from Stolarz tonight, Joe, they could go 4 rounds. I think that's the big keys. Their defense and goaltending. Stolarz was great tonight. The final score was a little bit deceptive, but yeah, the Leafs. Look, it's hard to criticize the Leafs, Joe. Coming in 5 straight wins, 9-1 in their last 10. And they just repeated the trick tonight against Ottawa, a pretty convincing win. But I still give Ottawa a puncher's chance here in Game 2 to take it back to Ottawa even at 1.
I'm with you there on the Senators. Hey, let's talk about our local team, the LA Kings, taking on Edmonton. And the Kings are underdogs on the series, but they're favorites here in Game 1. Best home ice advantage in hockey all year. What is your take on the series here, and what's your take on Game 1?
My take on the series is, of the 4 series that they've played, and this will be the 4th consecutive season they've played in round 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs, this is the best shot the Kings have to beat the Oilers. And the reason the Oilers are favored in the series, Joe, is 2 reasons. Number 97 and number 29, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Because if you look at the rest of the team, the supporting cast, it's not close to what it was last season.
Right.
Like, this is not the same team that went to Game 7 in the Stanley Cup final. I know they're going to get action because of those 2 guys, but this is the Kings' best shot. I think pound for pound, depth-wise, they're the better team. They certainly have the better goaltender in Darcy Kemper because Stuart Skinner hasn't been the same guy that took them to a Cup final. So I think they got a legitimate shot out of the box here in Game 1, and I do like them to win the series in 6. It's a long time coming. It's a more confident team, Joe. I think if you look at last season's series, it was 5 games. Edmonton won. Not only did they dominate them, but they bullied them. And if you know anything about the Kings, their depth players are much bigger guys. They got their 4th-line center, Sami Helenius, is 6'6", 205. The kid next to him is Jeff Malott. He's 6'5" and 200. And on top of that, his brother's a UFC fighter. So they knew they got bullied last year, Joe. Not only got beaten, but bullied. So this is a very different LA team. It's a more confident team. They do have home ice advantage for the first time in 4 rounds. And I think they'll find a way to get that. And then it would set up, I think, a fantastic series, hopefully in the second round between Vegas and LA.
A Knights-Kings series would be absolutely wild. I'm with you. I like the Kings plus money price on the series. And minus 120 Game 1. You know, I mentioned it. Best home ice advantage this year. Best home ice record in the NHL. When are you going to get a price that good? LA money line at home. I might lay the 20 cents. How about the Capitals and the Habs? Speaking of Game 1s on Monday, I've never seen a year in which both overall 1 seeds in their respective conferences are getting faded as much as Winnipeg and Washington have seemed to be coming into this. Do you give Montreal a puncher's chance here? What's your take on Game 1?
Joe, you're spot on with respect to the 2 1 seeds in both conferences. I think what happens, Joe, is that we want to poke holes in those teams. Like for the lesser teams, you want to make the case for them to win series. And with the Winnipeg and definitely Washington, you look, okay, where are the deficiencies? Well, Logan Thompson's injured. He's their number 1 goaltender. Is he going to play? How much is he going to play in the series? And they haven't played together as a group. But, Joe, I'll give the Canadians 1 game at Bell Center, Game 3. Because it's going to be a zoo. The atmosphere is going to be fantastic. Yep. It's been a while since they had a full house, and they had some COVID playoff games in Montreal. But the Game 3 at Bell Center, I can't wait for that. It's going to be a great story. They had a great rush to end the season. But pound for pound, it's not close. And I think what happened with the Caps, Joe, coming down the stretch of the last 10 games, they had an Ovi 895 hangover. Like there was so much focus on Ovi breaking the record. Last 10 games, they had to find their bearings. Maybe you might think 6 games, maybe the Caps aren't ready for Game 1. But I think pound for pound, the Caps will show their mettle. But I do not like them coming out of the East, actually. I won't favor them. So I understand why people are fading them because this group of players, as well as they've played this season, haven't done it in the playoffs. And that's what we would look for. What's the pot you work in the playoffs? They don't have one yet.
Dennis, who do you like coming out of the East? Is it Carolina or is it one of the 2 teams down in Florida?
I think we got a 2022 rematch, Joe. I think Tampa Bay and Colorado. I love Tampa Bay. I will never doubt John Cooper again after the 4 Nations. I won't doubt their general manager who went out and got Brandon Hagel, who has 35 goals, all at even strength. I just won't doubt this team. And if you watch the Panthers, Joe, they just look tired. They've played a lot of hockey. 2 years ago, they went to the Cup final, didn't win against Vegas. Last year, they won it all in the Game 7. Down the stretch, I think they were 3-6-1 in the last 10. They just look tired. Tampa looks like the better team, the healthier team. And I think it's their year. Now, it might be a bloodbath, but I don't think so, Joe. I think this is a relatively short series. I actually like Tampa in 5 here over the champs. And a lot of people might roll their eyes because they are the Stanley Cup champions. But I just love Tampa. I love the coaching staff. And a guy like Brian McDonough coming back from Nashville. That was a huge move that was under the radar that nobody really talks about, that really solidified their defense. They have all the components. They still have Vasilevsky in net. I really like this team. I think they can emerge from the East.
Wow, Tampa in 5. You can get them on DraftKings right now, minus 2.5 games. So that would mean either, in 5 or a sweep, plus 370. Sure. And if you want to take the Lightning just to win the series, minus 105, it's practically a pick 'em, but short underdogs, which I was saying this last week, didn't make too much sense to me that they'd be dogs in this series against the Panthers. But I like that Lightning play here. Hey, how about the game 2s that we have? You mentioned the Avalanche. So you like them to come out of the West. Do you like them minus $1.40 game 2, or do you think Dallas gets one at home?
I think this was the game they get at home. I think, again, it's a short series. I think 5 or 6 for Colorado. I just look, their strength down the middle, Joe. They went out and traded for Brock Nelson and Charlie Coyle. Who trades for 2 centers at the trade deadline? And they still have Cale Makar, who's got 30 goals. Now, the flip side of the coin is Dallas doesn't have Jason Robertson, a 30-goal scorer. They might not have Miro Heiskanen until game 3. So I'll give them this game. But here's another series where it's about trusting goaltenders. I just don't trust Jake Ottinger to win a series for this team against a really, really good team. They have the depth. Now, they finally got the 2 goaltenders in Colorado, Joe. The first time they ever won a playoff game. Mackenzie Blackwood and Scott Wedgwood had never won a playoff game until yesterday. So I'll give Dallas game 2. I love Colorado here. And as I mentioned before, I think they can emerge from the West.
Dallas coming in plus $1.25 in game 2 on their home ice. Dennis, take us home with this St. Louis-Winnipeg game. You think the Blues at plus $1.65 can steal one on the road here? What do you like for this game, this series? Break it down for us.
Long series, Joe. 7. I like Winnipeg at 7. And I think there's some misgivings from the Blues locker room after the game the other night because I think they thought they could have won that game. When they're up 3-2, Robert Thomas scored. I think, they got a legit shot. This is perfect for Winnipeg to play a long series against St. Louis to prep them for the win of Dallas and Colorado. I do like Winnipeg, a slight edge to Winnipeg, but a long series, Joe. It's not going to be easy work for Winnipeg. But you know what? If they wind up going deep, they're going to look back at this series and say, it was our best interest to take our first round matchup because last year, remember, they lost in 5 to Colorado. Long series. Blues have been great down the stretch, but I think Winnipeg's just got a little bit too much to get knocked out in the first round.
Dennis, as always, man, absolutely phenomenal stuff. Really appreciate the time. Thanks so much for hopping on.
Great being on VSiN, Joe. Thanks for the time. We'll talk to you soon.
Make sure you follow him on Twitter at DennisTFP, senior writer over at the Fourth Period, and host over at SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. Dennis Bernstein with us here on Cashing Out. And as you look at that Blues-Jets series, you can get St. Louis. Dennis just said he likes Winnipeg in 7. If this thing goes the distance, you can get St. Louis plus a game and a half at plus $1.50. Or if you want to play it a little safer, maybe a little more conservative, you can get them plus 2.5 games, meaning that they could lose in 6, and you could cash your ticket at minus 140. I got to say, when it comes to betting the Stanley Cup playoffs, because I don't regular season really bet any hockey, I like looking at these series spreads a little more, and especially NBA playoffs too, opening rounds when you might not want to go exact games, but something like a St. Louis plus 2.5. They're a team that has postseason experience, albeit it was a couple years ago. Winnipeg, Connor Hellebuyck, they become a different team when they get to the playoffs. People love to fade the Winnipeg Jets. St. Louis plus 2.5, that might be something worth laying 40 cents on. He said Colorado in 6. You want the Avalanche minus a game and a half. How about this? That's shifted to minus 180. That might be a little steep for my liking. That might be a little too much to lay right there. If you're feeling gutsy, though, LA Kings minus a game and a half, plus 225 against the reigning Western Conference champs. More Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo after the break.
Cashing Out here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cashing Out continues with me, Joe Ceraulo, taking you into your Monday morning, starting your week off the right way with us right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. That was absolutely sensational stuff right there from our friend Dennis Bernstein over SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. That was terrific insight into the Stanley Cup playoffs. Got me thinking about some bets like I left you off with there before the break. Some intrigue on my end with the St. Louis plus 2.5 games, minus 140. If you're feeling really gutsy, plus a game and a half, essentially saying that it'll either go 7 and they'll lose or they'll win. That was plus $1.50 for the Blues there. The Avalanche over Dallas, some intrigue there. I loved it. Phenomenal stuff. And I agree, Tampa Bay, I believe, is going to beat the Florida Panthers here in the opening round. Let's shift gears back to the diamond a bit. Monday, Not the busiest slate. What do we have? 8 games on Monday, so about half of the league in action. But there are some really good games and some really intriguing spots. I'm looking at this Patriots Day game up at Fenway, and I'm trying to find an angle here. I got to see what Boston typically does on Patriots Day. I want to know, because I'm looking at a nerfy. I see an 11 a.m. start, and my first thought is, give me a nerfy. These guys are going to be a little sleepy. I mean, that's an early start time. Noon starts are early, folks. I worked for the Mets for 4 years. Noon starts, you feel the difference between a noon and a 1 p.m. game. 11 a.m., whole different animal, whole different beast. That is early. So I look at that Red Sox, White Sox, Patriots Day game, and my first thought is, do we go nerfy? Let me see what that price is coming in at. First inning, minus 115. And I mean, it makes sense, right? It's a hitter's ballpark. You're not looking at 2 great pitchers, Jonathan Cannon and Walker Buehler. It's going to be chilly, which I like for a nerfy, 53 degrees. And it's not going to be the hottest part of the day, 1 p.m., 2 p.m. 11 a.m. start, 53 degrees projected game time. Patriots Day, Red Sox get up for that a little bit, so maybe Buehler's got the juices flowing, getting the ball. He did when he got the ball for the Red Sox home opener. That was his best start of the year. I might be looking at that nerfy. Can Jonathan Cannon do it in the bottom of the first? That's what scares me. That's what scares me a little bit. But Patriots Day, I'm going to wait before we lock that in until a little later in the show. I want to see the history of Patriots Day first innings, maybe the last 5. I don't know if we have anyone on the team who'd be so inclined to, maybe our stud AP Johnny Campbell could look that up. Last 5 Patriots Days, Red Sox results and first inning results. I want to get that in the books before we lock in a best bet for that game. But while the Red Sox-White Sox series is going to be concluding on Monday, a lot of other series are going to be just beginning. How about the fact that the Mets are underdogs against Philadelphia? Now, it's nearly a pick 'em. You're laying a few pennies either way. Philly minus 115, Mets minus 105. And I get why. You look at the probable pitchers, and that's usually what these are based on. And it's Aaron Nola, Christopher Sanchez, and Zach Wheeler for the Phillies. For the Mets, it is Tyler McGill, Griffin Canning, and David Peterson. On paper, you don't look at records, you don't look at ERAs, you don't look at numbers. You just look at the names. Nola, Sanchez, Wheeler, and then you look McGill, Canning, Peterson. You think, clear as day, Philly should be favored. How about the fact that Philadelphia's bullpen has been a disaster? They gave up 6 runs to the Miami Marlins in the final 4 innings, innings 7, 8, 9, and 10 on Easter Sunday. 6 runs, 4 innings. The Marlins' motley crew of a lineup. This Phillies bullpen has been terrible. They were gifted a 3-0 first inning lead on Sunday against the Marlins. 4-1 lead going into the 7th, couldn't hold it. And I'm talking their studs, their most notable names, the Orion Kerkerings, the Matt Stroms. Strom came in the 10th, allowed the ghost runner to score, but then allowed another run, got the loss. Jose Alvarado gives you a heart attack every time he touches the ball. How about Romano? They swapped late inning relievers with the Blue Jays. The Jays got Hoffman. Romano went to the Phils in free agency, not a trade. But how about Romano? What's his ERA, 20? I mean, he's the guy who, when they were up 11-4 against the Marlins, and thoughts and prayers if you had the run line there, he's the reason it was 11-10, the final score Saturday. 4 late inning relievers for Philadelphia are all untrustworthy right now. So, yeah, I like the Mets in this series minus 105. And I like the Mets game 1 minus 115. Currently the best price out there. Right behind me at Circa, South Point, and Stations both match it. Mets minus 115. McGill, Nola. Nola's 0-4. He's getting tattooed left and right. And here's why I like the series, too. If they win game 1, now you got Griffin Canning against Christopher Sanchez and Zach Wheeler against David Peterson. First off, David Peterson's been fantastic. Zach Wheeler, in 5 starts, has been fantastic against the Nationals, the Rockies, and the Miami Marlins. He sucked against the Atlanta Braves and the St. Louis Cardinals. And I would say he's been great against bad teams and bad against good teams, but he actually hasn't faced a team above 500. Now, Zach Wheeler, I love. There's no hard feelings because he's a former Met. My hard feelings there lie with Brody Van Wagenen, right? Not with Zach Wheeler. I love Zach Wheeler. He is my preseason NL Cy Young pick. And I believe it was 8-1, not 9-1 in that range. I love Zach Wheeler. But he has faced 5 below 500 lineups to start the year. And while he dominated the Nats, Rockies, and Marlins, he got lit up against the Braves and the Cardinals. Any Mets starting pitcher get lit up by the Cardinals? No, they just swept them in 4. So I'm concerned about Zach Wheeler right now, to be frank, and I'm concerned about my Cy Young ticket right now with him, to be frank. He doesn't scare me. I think David Peterson is off to a better start this year than Zach Wheeler. Certainly has been more consistent. He doesn't have the upside that Wheeler has anytime he touches the ball 60 feet, 6 inches away from the batter's box. But David Peterson has been more consistent. And Christopher Sanchez, are we allowed to talk? Everyone came into this year, 40-1, it's a good price for the Cy Young. Are we allowed to talk about the fact that last year Christopher Sanchez's home and away splits were some of the most drastic in Major League Baseball? Are we allowed to acknowledge that he had a road ERA over 5 a season ago? So the Phillies are running out Aaron Nola, who the first report from him in spring training was that he's hardly touching 90 on the gun, and now he's 0-4 with a 6+ ERA. Christopher Sanchez, who last year had a road ERA over 5, and Zach Wheeler, who's been lit up by the Braves and Cardinals 2 of his last 3 starts. And I'm supposed to fear that? Oh, and by the way, their bullpen stinks. Their high-priced, high expectation bullpen has stunk. Give me the Mets minus 105, 8 days a week, twice on Sundays. Absolutely back in the Mets as short dogs in this series. And they're 9-1 at Citi Field. 3rd time in franchise history. They've started 9-1 or better. First 10 games at home. 1986, 9-1, won the World Series. 2015, 10-0, went to the World Series. 2025, 9-1. Plus 1250 behind me at Circa to win the World Series. Go get that ticket now. I'm doing it. I'm going to take you back to the days of high school, maybe junior high, when your friends were making bad decisions. If you do it, I'll do it. Well, I'm doing it. Why don't you join me? Mets plus 1250. World Series. Ticket in pocket. Folks, aside from me betting on the Mets plus 1250 to win the World Series, do you want to know where the rest of the money is really going? Unlike other sources, our betting splits here at VSiN come straight from Circa and DraftKings, giving you insight into where the sharp action is landing. Circa is known, of course, for taking big bets from the pros, while DraftKings provides a broader market perspective. That means you're getting the real action, not just public money, but the kinds of wagers that move lines. See the percentage of bets versus the handle on every game across every major sport, helping you make smarter, more informed bets. Get VSiN's summer special right now, just $59 till August 1st. How about that? VSiN.com/subscribe. Don't miss out on that incredible offer. Some other notable series prices. The Cincinnati Reds laying 35 cents in Miami as they go down to South Beach. They got Lodolo on the bump game 1 opposite Max Meyer, who's been sneaky good, 1-2 record, but a 2.6 ERA. Game 2, Cincinnati is rolling out. Where the hell did that game go on my, there we go. Nick Martinez against Cabrera, a couple of pitchers with ERAs north of 6. Game 3, Andrew Abbott, lefty, 2-0 with a 1.6 opposite Sandy Alcantara, who's 2-1 with an ERA north of 7, former Cy Young winner. I think the Reds, even the Abbott Alcantara thing, like on paper, obviously Abbott's stats way better. It's early in the season. I'm not too concerned there. But Cincinnati could win the first 2. Both teams traveling. Marlins going down from Philly. Reds going down from Baltimore. The Reds bats have woken up. They're hot after a terrible start to the year. Cincinnati, let me see if I could squeeze this in before the break. They've won 4 of their last 7. They're starting to hit the ball. They've won 6 out of 10. I like the Reds to win that series. More cashing out with Joe Ceraulo up next.